He hears our voices. Keyword. That's where I wanted to stop that. Is where he says, "We hear your voices." Well, Mr. Obama, I am coming before as an American citizen before you through the usage of the internet to come out and say that we must have temporary employment reform. I'll show you an example here, Mr. Obama, of the type of problems we're dealing with here. And basically what's happening is that every single dot you see here in this map represents a actual business that is most likely, as typed in here, a temporary staffing agency. Now if we were to take a closer look at this, we can see that there's obviously a million results. Now, I'm not saying that there's a million temp staffing agencies in America, but that's what comes up on Google. And what I'm trying to get at here is that for every one of these little cancerous red dots here on the map that represents a staffing agency is essentially the same thing that's hurting the country. Each one of those dots represents a problem. A problem that unfortunately is causing a crisis unlike anything we've ever seen before. And to help me explain how temp staffing agencies and how and why you should support temp employment reform is because of these simple reasons right here. And as you can see, let's ask ourselves, how does temporary staffing agency directly hurt America and Americans? Well, Mr. President, temp agencies create higher employment rates by making it easier to sever employee relations. This causes a major problem if you are trying to fight for the development of employees and job creation in this country. It also causes millions of hardworking American workers to go without insurance and proper benefits every year. This now, in turn, results in billions of dollars of unpaid medical bill expenses from uninsured Americans. This now puts pressure on the American government, which in turn the President yourself has to deal with. To fix this debt and avoid an economical crash, they initiate programs like the bailout, the stimulus, and other elements that they say are designed to help us American hard workers. And they do. They do these bailouts, and the bailout might have helped keep things afloat for a little bit, but the economy is still weak, and the debt is still rising, as we all know. So something else must be done. Mr. Obama and President Obama, has decided to initiate Obamacare, which some Americans have come to know it by, which will force Americans to buy health insurance. And this is all, as you can see, directly related to temp agencies. As you can see, temp employment is bad. No matter how you cut it, we as Americans need temporary employment reform before we destroy our own economy. It's as simple as that. And if we go back here, I can explain a little bit further. Right now in America, we can look at some statistics that I have gathered here. In America, we have 5% of all Americans work for temporary employment agencies. Considerably, almost the same amount is the exact amount of Americans that are unemployed. Temp agencies make it, by law, create their own scapegoat for businesses to be able to abuse the American worker by saying, you know what, I'm going to put you as a temp in a position for 2 years, up to 2 years, and I'm not going to pay insurance for up to 2 years. And then under the current law, the temp agency has to either decide, and the employer has to decide either to hire you or to replace you with a new temp. Temp agencies create a dilemma when you're trying to create job creation, and this is the point I'm trying to get across. By eliminating temp employees, we can increase the amount of American insurance there is. This is because businesses would have to hire real employees, not temps. At first glance, many may not like this concept, but within the reform, we can include a tax incentive for any business that is 100% temp employee free. This incentive would be no more than the exact amount the business saves by using temp agencies. In this way, businesses are rewarded for treating American workers right. I can go on here, and basically we're fighting for temporary employment reform. The reform will create millions of real workforce jobs, and enough to bring us out of the unemployment crisis, lower insurance costs because more people will have access to it, because it will be easier to get a full-time position with insurance than having to go through temp agencies and having your life on hold for 2 years until the company decides to hire you or not. And finally, lower the number of uninsured Americans nationwide, which is at an astounding amount of 50 million, to probably around half of that, estimating that, we try to completely remove the temp process from and leaving the businesses without the scapegoat, so they don't have to pay American employees insurance. And I'm asking you, Mr. Obama, simply because if you're not willing to say to the businesses, hey, you can't stop using temp agencies as a scapegoat to not pay American workers, then why are you asking us, the American public, to pay for insurance? We can't have both, unfortunately. The American people will not accept it. The petition that this is in regards to is to help fight that from happening. There will not be Obamacare, and there will not be temp agencies. We can't have both. The American people won't have it. And in order to stop it, this petition is put in place so that Americans can have a voice and say, no, there will be temp employment reform, and we will solve this problem with the health care, with the unemployment, and the nationwide uninsured. But we have to start here. This is where it all starts. And I appreciate you watching this YouTube video and taking the time to understand a little bit more about what's going on in our economy and what really is the cancer of all our problems. And as you can see here, it's temporary, and they're like cancers all throughout the U.S. And everywhere where you see one of these dots, there's a temp staffing agency hiring various different personnel, and they're hiring them for years without having to pay insurance on them, the businesses that have them working for them on assignments. And this has to end. And here is our chance to fight back. Follow me as a fellow American that wants to improve our government, wants to improve the way businesses treat us and treat American workers, and vote and sign up for this petition. I have the locations of the petition here. Right here, it's on Care2 petition site, and you can just type in temporary employment reform. I've also posted it on our Twitter account, which is temp reform, which is our Twitter account, where you can go in and check out all our links and give you help. Also, if you can go on there and retweet it and let other Americans know that temp employment needs reform. We need to do this fast, and it's very important to us. And also on Facebook, I have also we also have a Facebook account that also has, if you just type in into the search temporary employment reform, you'll be able to link from there and some of more information, and of course links to the petition form so you can sign up and join the fight against temporary employment agencies and do temporary employment reform. Again, thank you for your time, and you want